for my first question, covering every season of Smallville, does this include the 3 seasons Michael was not in?
Unfortunately, Tom's making me do it, yes.
Yep.
So as of now, unless something happens, we're planning on going through every season of Smallville.
And one of the best things about this whole thing, Craig, is I was in 99% of all the scenes of the show for 10 years. I then became a producer and watched the shows and gave notes on them. Michael really has only seen some of the scenes that Lex was in. And I'm pretty sure, actually, I know Michael didn't watch Smallville for 3 seasons he wasn't in before he came back for the final season. So a lot of this is new to Michael and new to Lex. Like Lex wasn't following everybody around, so it's a lot of fun to watch Michael watch the episodes.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's we're stepping back now, and it's really watching as fans. We're watching as fans now. There's been so much separation, so much time, that it really feels like that's not me, that's not you. We're so much older now. So it's interesting.
So are you recording these in production order or in airing order? Because I know like Jitters was number 3 shot, but aired like number 9 or something.
Airing.
Okay, cool. Do you have any specific dream guests to have on your show?
I mean, we talked about it. We were thinking like hopefully Amy Adams or something, if we can get her. Supposedly Justin Bieber's a big fan of the show, of the podcast, or of Smallville. When I played in a hockey tournament with him for the All-Star game, he asked me about Smallville and asked me about Lana Lang. So
it's funny because I was in a restaurant once in the afternoon and I went to the bathroom, and walking back out, I heard this kid say, hey. And I turned around, it was Justin Bieber. He goes, "You're Tom Welling from Smallville. Can I get a picture?" And I was like, "Yeah." And his buddy jumped up and took a picture. He's like, "Thanks, man. I love the show." So, maybe he remembers. That'd be great.
I love that.
So I've heard there were some epic pranks on the show. I heard a specific one about Emmanuel Vaugier in your trailer. Will we be hearing some of those on the podcast?
I think you're going to hear everything that we can think of. Anything that comes up in our minds that we recall, or anything that's self-deprecating or hearsay, we're going to bring it up. So there's a lot of episodes to go. So we've already recorded a few, but and also, look, we have a hotline so fans could interact and they could ask questions. We have a Patreon account so people could support the podcast. So we're just starting. It's a work of it's evolution, this show.
It's also going to help us because we go to a lot of these fan conventions now, and there's panels where people get to ask you questions, and half the questions we're like, "Oh, I don't remember," because I don't remember doing that episode. I'm not sure what you're talking about. And now we're going to lose that excuse because we're going to have watched all these episodes. And it sparks a lot of memories, which, if you ask me about an episode right now, I might be able to tell you a couple things, but having watched a few that we've done, dude, it's like, there's too many things to talk about. And we actually edited down a little bit because there's so much to talk about on TalkVille.
Speaking of the conventions, will you ever do a podcast during one of your Smallville nights or anything like that?
That's a good idea. Maybe we will.
That would be fun with a live audience or something.
Yeah, maybe we could do something like that. We dissect, tell the fan base what episode we're watching, and then talk about it on the that episode when we do it live. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I actually did Smallville nights back in December. I saw you guys, and it was such a great time. I recommend it to anybody watching this. And one thing I noticed though is, Tom, you very much still have a director's brain. Could we be seeing you direct again anytime soon?
I don't know if it's directing or controlling. I don't know, but I would love to direct. I mean, I love directing Smallville. I haven't directed since, but that experience has helped me with the other projects I've been a part of, because what I always think about directing and acting is if you can kind of speak both languages a little bit, you can understand the communication. Because sometimes a director will ask you to do things as an actor which make no sense to you. But once you've directed an actor, you go, okay, I'm going to have to ask them to do something that makes no sense to them, but it works for the camera. And so once it helps that way. But yes, I would love to direct again. I get a lot of joy, like giving an actor a note and then filming and seeing it. It's literally magic to me. It's just magic. So I would like to. Yeah.
Are you guys able to reveal any of the guests you're having in the early weeks of TalkVille?
I would just say that the show is really about me and Tom and talking about the episodes. That's what the show's mostly about. However, that being said, occasionally we're going to have guests like the costume guy, Steve, or maybe Kristen Krug, maybe John Schneider, maybe the creators of Smallville. So they'll all make appearances eventually, but it's not going to be every episode there's going to be a guest. It's going to be really me and Tom talking about the episodes.
Do you have a favorite episode that you guys have rewatched so far?
Well, it's funny because I kind of remembered this episode before we watched it. It's called Cool, about a football player who falls in the lake and then needs to get warm, and I kind of remembered that episode, but then I watched it, so much more came out of it. And it was funny because Michael's reaction to the episode was like, what the is going on here? Like, it's like talking to Michael about the episode made the episode even better to me.
Yeah.
So that's one that we've already done. Yeah.
But we also did one called, it was the one where Hourglass.
Yeah.
The episode where the woman kind of sees into your future. And that one I really appreciated. I thought it was really dark. And
the serial killer was back on the loose.
Yeah, the old man. And it was cool. That was a cool episode. I really liked it.
And Tom, how did Michael convince you to do this show?
Well, I guess there was other companies who had actually in the months prior were coming to me about doing a podcast about Smallville. And I was like, well, I don't really get it. I don't really know this world, and I don't know who you guys are, and I don't know what the numbers are, and I don't know if I can trust you. And seemingly enough, Michael came, and because of his success of Inside of You and the production team that he has, made me feel much more protected and comfortable. He has everything that we need to get it done. And then with this idea that we would watch episodes and then talk about them was like, well, that just sounds like a good time with my friend. So, that's really how simple it was.
Will there be exclusive Patreon content, kind of like Inside of You has? There is some. We're figuring that all now. People that want to support the podcast can go on patreon.com/TalkVille. And there will be some exclusive stuff, yes. As we continue, hopefully there'll be more. Are there any specific episodes you're kind of dreading having to watch again? I don't know. I don't remember. That's the thing. Every episode is rehashing these old memories. So I can't really tell you that I'm dreading something as much as I am curious and just excited about each episode to come.
I got one.
Which is
there's an episode, I think it's called, I want to say it's Bewitched, but it's where all the female cast members turn into witches. And there's a party in Clark's barn or loft, and Clark's dancing like a fool. And that still haunts me to this day because I was dancing and they were like, cut. And the director's note was, everything's great except Clark. We kind of think that Clark doesn't know how to dance at all. So you got to be and I remember we like action. So I started dancing like a fool. And I don't know who it was. One of the actresses was right in front of me. It was either Kristen or I don't know, but looking at me just like horrified. And I just remember being like, oh, this is embarrassing. And I don't know what season that is, but we'll get to it.
Season 4, and when you get to it, Annette O'Toole has great stories about filming that episode.
Oh, great. Okay, good.
So we'll have her on.
I think that's the one where she made me cry at the end, and she wasn't supposed to because she's like, I'm disappointed in you, Clark. That whole scene. Yeah. And I ended up crying in the scene. It wasn't even written. I was just like, I feel so bad.
Is there any episode you're really excited to cover, like the Christopher Reeve episode or anything like that?
That one definitely, obviously. But one of I think my favorite, when people ask me my favorite episode, it's always Transference, because of being able to play Lionel Luthor and switching bodies with a great actor like John Glover. I'm looking forward to rewatching that again.
Each episode is so new for me. It's just because I never really watched the episodes as much. So
I want to see the one where Lionel falls off the building with you.
Yeah, where I kill my father. Of course, Leximus and Onyx and
Zod.
Oh man, it's endless. The list is endless of the shows that I can't wait to see.
The cool thing about this podcast, and we found this through an interview yesterday, is a lot of podcasts. A lot of the work is getting guests or getting content.
Mm-hmm.
We have 200. You already know there 217 episodes of this show that we already have it. So I think that if people are like, I don't know if I want to, because I do this, I don't know if I want to start listening to this thing because I don't want it to fade out. Well, there's no plans for this to fade out for the next couple years. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We're going to take it day by day, and hopefully we enjoy it as much as we're enjoying it now, and and we keep doing it.
And what are you most excited for the fans to get out of this podcast?
I think them seeing us really watch it as fans is going to be exciting to them, and interacting with them and getting to see our perspective and getting to hear the stories behind the stories. I think that is going to entice people to just kind of take a trip with us, to take a little vacation back to Smallville for all these seasons, and just sort of enjoy it. Just take a little, I think it'll be fun for them.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I think you'll find that it's a good time. This podcast is a good time. And you're gonna get some color commentary about things that you probably don't know about that happened behind the scenes, or the day before, or right before the scene, or what we thought about this actor or director. That will, like my cheeks always end up hurting because I smile so much doing these things. So it's just a good time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to say to the fans who'll be watching this and reading about it on KryptonSite?
Thank you. Thank you for considering it. Thank you for watching it. And fan participation is a big part, whether it's questions or phone-in questions, and you're going to help us shape this whole thing. So please participate.
Yeah, we're really excited to share this with you, and it's a long time coming. So join us every week, Wednesdays for TalkVille.